My parents thought I was going to kill myself because of all the crazy things I would do.
Okay.
And they worried to the point of thinking it's a discipline issue because Africa, what is ADHD? Like what is dyslexia? They don't know what that was. It's one thing to fail when you're putting no effort. You know it's your fault. It's something else to fail when you're putting in all effort. Then is when you know it's outside of your control. And that really helped me crystallize two things. First, just the life of an entrepreneur, which is you're always going to be trying until you succeed. Failure is going to be the norm, right? That's the first thing. But the second thing is education isn't fit for purpose anymore. Education as a system is broken. As a system.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you layer on top of it. Every single person started small.
Yeah.
Do not despise humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is you're building, whether it is the Ark from Noah, or you're building the Tower of Babel, or you're putting together a government, if you start small, step by step, we say it in Kiswahili, haba na haba hujaza kibaba, a bit and a bit and a bit, and an ocean is full.
Hello and welcome to my Innovation Story podcast, where you hear exclusive insights from innovators across the African continent. This podcast is brought to you by Magna Collective, and today we have an awesome guest. His name is Tonee Ndungu. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tonee is a Kenyan serial entrepreneur with 15 years of experience driving innovation within the African Fintech and Edtech space through his ventures Tribbe Nation and Kytabu. Now, for those who also want to understand the deeper level of Tonee, he's also an AI enthusiast, a serious one. And he's the host of the podcast, My African Startup Story, where he showcases Africans' entrepreneurial journey.
Nice. I like that introduction. No one has ever introduced me as well.
Okay, fantastic.
And I like it. This is good. I will clap for you.
Thank you very much.
Well
Thank
done.
you very much.
Well done.
I'm happy about that.
Congratulations on Magna.
Thank you.
I want to talk about that a little bit later, but this is good. Yeah.
We'll have time.
Thank you for having me, man.
It's a pleasure.
In Lagos, no less.
Yes.
And it's super hot. I appreciate the AC everywhere I find it. Because what is this weather, bro? Like, what is the challenge?
Is it hot, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from East Africa, where we have a very small tolerance for weather. It's anywhere between 22 degrees Celsius and 29. Anything above or below that is too much.
It's a big problem.
It's crazy.
Okay, let's jump right in.
Let's go.
There are a couple of things I think people really need to understand about your journey.
Right.
But we like to wind the clock back because we think some of your earliest experiences drive the people that we see today.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, what are some of the earliest inspirations that made Tonee the person that we see today? Just tell us about your childhood, how you grew up, and how the amazing man we see before us came to be.
Yeah, every time, everyone has a trauma story that they start with, and they say, "Oh, when I was a child, my mother left me for someone else." I don't have those drastic stories, except the fact that when I was much younger, my parents took me to a correctional facility. Because I had then what we've come to now call ADHD and dyslexia. Oh, okay. And those, I was 9 years old. My parents thought I was going to kill myself because of all the crazy things I would do. Okay. And they worried to the point of thinking it's a discipline issue because Africa, what is ADHD? Like what is dyslexia? They don't know what that was. And so early on, I went to an approved school or a correctional facility. And we're going to talk about how that affected me as we grow. But what I got out of my learning journey in primary school and secondary school was I had a learning challenge, not a disability per se. I think framing is really important. Yeah. And dyslexia is one's inability to consume information the way people normally do. I would read the books, but my memory wouldn't hold it in. And so my high school, which is when I was 14, 15, and 16, was defined by me being one of the worst kids in the classroom. But my father's interest in my learning journey and his belief that I am better than what my results show was my first interaction with technology, because he convinced the then principal of my school to allow me to have a Walkman, which is the Sony Walkman. Do you remember that? Was that before your time? Yeah, no, I had it. That's where Sade music was consumed beautifully, I tell you. The cassette tape, TDK 180. I remember this.
I had one too.
And you did?
Yeah, I did.
You were a fancy child. Yeah. And when I was in school, I recorded my books onto the cassette tape and listened back to them for me to be able to understand and remember what used to happen in physics, biology, chemistry, math, English. And that is what got me from being the back of the class to the upper middle of the class. So that by the time I finished high school, I had a good enough grades to get into university. Okay. And this is from a child who was third last in his class in one of the most prestigious Ivy League type high schools in Kenya. And so that story stuck with me because I realized that the only tool I had to move from primary school to university, which is education, the challenge I had was overcome by technology. And it stuck with me to the point where when I got into technology full time and I was able to participate in Kenya's Silicon Savannah upbringing, once I left that scene, I wanted to go back and fix that education problem. And that's what I've been working on for the last 13 years.
So that's amazing. And there are a couple of threads to pull on in what you said.
Oh, there's many threads.
The first one is the fact that you identified that there was an issue, especially in how you fared with traditional learning ways. Because it's really not, I believe the educational system, there's room for improvement across the board in terms of how information is passed across to people.
Yeah.
It's usually using text, but there should be room for audio-visual.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So,
especially because we're African. And Africans, what do? We tell stories.
Tell stories.
This thing of writing books is not ours. It's British. We know this. Yeah. If you think about it, like we remember Mansa Musa from Timbuktu and all of that. We remember our own narratives. We have narratives from East Africa and from Kenya specifically about our religious cultures, talking about names like Mumbi. These are our Eves, if you're to think of Adam and Eve. This is where our stories came from. How are these stories passed on for hundreds of years by our tribes, which migrated on foot from whether it's down in Southern Africa or it is Western Africa and Guinea? How did we get these stories to sustain if there were no parchments of these narratives?
Yeah.
We spoke them.
Yeah, we did.
And if we spoke them and remembered them, this idea of bringing books, not to discredit the books and foundational literacy and numeracy, but then these tools that now came into our existence 200 years ago or less have become the staple of how we learn and then eradicated what we used to do in the form of storytelling, which is why a lot of our history ends with the white man. It doesn't end with our African history because our history was orally passed down. Yeah. And the missionaries that came into our cities and our countries in the name of bringing Christ to the communities robbed us of that history and stopped us from speaking orally about where we've been from, but instead reading what their interpretation of our foundational history was. And that's why there's so much loss of value and loss of character and loss of faith in ourselves. And we as Africans keep looking outside of ourselves to see who we are. It's because we don't have our stories. That's the challenge with education.
I think there's been a drastic loss of identity when you look at everything from literary works to even the arts. So the paintings, the statues, so on and so forth.
The carvings, all of that.
But let me continue your story. So could you talk us through your understanding of how you learned? So this is a personalized thing, which I think is missing from the educational system now. Seems like they're trying to fit everyone within a template as opposed to personalization.
Yes.
So how did you go about navigating that all the way through to the rest of your education, moving from primary school, secondary school, and then starting your career? How did that journey go?
A majority of the time when we're doing school for an exam. The goal is a very straightforward short goal. I need to pass my exams to be able to go to the next level. And to pass my exams, I need to cram or memorize or remember what comes in the examination, which is why there's a very big business in revising or studying the exams from last year and the year before and the year before. I was really good in primary school because Oxford University Press, one of the publishing houses out of London, was coming into Kenya. And it was very pictorial, and our school was one of the example schools they wanted to use. So they provided us with this very pictorial books that we could be able to use to learn. Loved that. I'd never come across that before, but I spent like 5 years of my primary school life learning with books with pictures, and my imagination was fed by the pictures next to the words. And it allowed me to remember things because all I needed to do was reference the image next to the issue. And I'd remember whether it's the body structure or civics or the history of Mount Kenya, whatever it was. I had that. And I did really well in primary school. When I finished, I was really one of the top of my class. When I went into high school, I went back to typeset. And typeset is the images were drawn by hand by students in their previous years. We're talking I was in school in the 90s. These images were from the 70s because it's the same books we were using. And so when it came time for the examinations, sir, I had nothing. I was giving nothing to the institution. I was taking. And that failure became something and it's one thing when you know you're not putting any effort and you're getting nothing in return. It's something else when you're up at 4:00 and sleep at midnight, every day, including Sundays, and you're still getting nothing. And it accustomed me to failure when you're putting full effort. It's one thing to fail when you're putting no effort. You know it's your fault. It's something else to fail when you're putting in all effort. Then is when you know it's outside of your control. And that really helped me crystallize two things. First, just the life of an entrepreneur, which is you're always going to be trying until you succeed. Failure is going to be the norm, right? That's the first thing. But the second thing is education isn't fit for purpose anymore. It's really not fit for purpose because you can't tell me that a person is worth nothing if they don't get a grade. That's a terrible way to assess the purpose and the value of a human.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew education needs to change. I don't know how to change it, but it needs to change. And I think that's where for me, that's where the push into EdTech started.
So I think it's very interesting that you've been able to draw on these different parallels, especially around the fact that you're a visual thinker.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how their preferred way of thinking is. And I think that degree of self-awareness is actually very important.
Yeah.
Especially when you found out very early that, say, this status quo is just not working for you.
It doesn't work for me.
So could you then tell us how this influenced your life as an entrepreneur? Because you've done many businesses. You're the quintessential definition of a serial entrepreneur. For those who don't know, he does things. So walk us through how your journey has been, and especially some of the things that you've tried that didn't work.
When I got into university, my mom's a lecturer there. So because she's a lecturer, we get the advantage of not having to pay school fees. All you pay is the taxes on school fees, 7% of the fees. And so I wasn't necessarily excited about education anymore. So I was in school for 10 years doing 2 degrees, journalism and international relations.
Why?
Because I didn't know what to do with my life. Like I wanted to be a pilot, but I didn't have the grades. Remember, I'm still the kid. We struggled with math. But my experience in that university experience was getting to learn that it's not really about what you know in class, it's how you relate to people.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I realized that there are 3 things that matter in life: network, resources, influence. And the resources weren't necessarily money. It's the people. And from there, I never really crystallized it into network, resources, and influence, but I crystallized the fact that it cannot only be based on grades.
Yeah.
And when I finished university, I had done a couple of meaningful internships. I'd worked for a radio station at the time. I had worked for the United Nations Higher Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, for a time. And I had seen extremes of financial success and financial not success. I've done another podcast in Kenya called Financially Incorrect, where I talk about getting $2,500 or the equivalent at the UN per month, and then getting $40 a month or the equivalent from the radio station less than a year after.
Wow.
Right? So it's really a spectrum on earning. But what you learn in that is your own personal value, irrespective of how much money you're making. And I can put this value out in the world in a quantifiable fashion. And when I got out of that, I went to work at a children's home in Thika, which is one of the sub-rural towns in Kenya. And from there, a Dutch friend of the owner of the school said, I'm looking for somebody I can try an idea out with. And the owner of the school was like, Tony, do you want to try this out? And this gentleman was like, I'm trying to create some tech thing in Nairobi, and I'm wondering if you want to help. And myself and this gentleman put together the NILAB. At the same time, Eric Hessman was putting together the iHub. And those two, on that one floor, those two became a nexus point for a very stratified but critical mass community of techies. And when these guys came together and they realized, hey, I don't know how to do this, but you do. Look, we're coding in C++. Can you help us out with this situation?
Yeah.
We don't know how to do it. All of a sudden, there was a gelling. There were these dots that were connected because of the spaces. And Silicon Savannah was started. And a lot of these folks had been in the industry even longer than we were.
Yeah.
Thinking of folks like Faris Kaboro and so many others, Ken Jorog and all of these. They had been starting things on the side, but the community had never come together.
Yeah.
And it's that coalition of the community that then started off what has now become one of Africa's biggest tech communities. And Silicon Savannah has just grown and grown and grown, and even exported people into other parts of the world to build out other businesses. And so even as Lagos was growing in its own right, Nairobi and East Africa were growing because of these communities that we never knew existed, because we provided a place for them to grow. Yeah. And from there, I realized anything is possible. And that's kind of what sparked all these businesses.
So let's touch on this NILAB piece a little bit, because it seems like the community didn't exist until a lot of intentional efforts was put to curate it, especially within Kenya. Could you tell us how that actually played a role in kind of innovating or spurring some of the amazing companies that we see today? And then could you use this opportunity to tell our listeners a little bit about the Kenyan tech ecosystem? Because some people might not know.
So if you don't know about the Kenyan tech ecosystem, where have you been, please? What is the challenge? the biggest thing about community is that community is always there. It's always there. The challenge is with communities, it's stratified. It's when a community is spread out, it's dysfunctional, because there's a sense of whether it's incompatibility of the perception of incompatibility. But the biggest part for communities, when you don't have a nexus point, and there's no congruence in the things that you do, then you don't have critical mass. And without critical mass, there's no real change. And that's what those tech hubs created. They did not build, I don't think they created community in itself. The community existed in different forms, formats, and fashions. What it did do was it aggregated it so that there was a single voice talking about a single thing, pushing for singularity in the way that we wanted things. An example is internet then was very expensive. It was extremely expensive. But the biggest telco in Kenya at the time provided connectivity. And I think it was like 5 megabytes per second. That was the fastest at that time.
Yikes.
And they provided it for free to the hubs.
Okay.
And that conversation, getting the CEO to pay attention to a company that then had about 9 million users, nights at somewhere at 36 million. But at that nascent time, to get his attention, you could not come as an individual. You had to come as a collective. And that's what the collective did. And it said, this is for the culture. And the culture right now is tech. We need you to come through for us because individually we cannot afford it. And those are the things that we had that nobody else saw. And Kenya became a big thing in the world. And this is why I'm asking your community of watchers and listeners if they haven't heard, because we are still currently the world's fastest and largest mobile money user per capita that exists. Mobile money in Kenya is $800 million a day, moved among 36 million people. The second runner-up is so far behind, it's a non-starter. Then what happened? It's because we had a community of folks that appreciated the value of technology and a very happy, early adoptive culture in Kenya. And we were happy to take on M-Pesa and see, what can he do for us? It started by, I'm sending him money, he's sending me money back. And then it became, I'm paying for a service, and that service is appreciating me and recognizing that as proof. So then this is now an institutional payment platform where I can pay power, I can pay water, I can pay rent, I can pay school fees. Then I can pay the government. That's when you start seeing massive adoption. And now I can be able to get customized service. And that payment solution spanned hundreds of business, which has became thousands of agents, which then became hundreds of thousands of customers, and now it's in the tens of millions. Those little leapfrogs that people don't understand were reaped from seeds that were planted by a few thoughtful people that decided, let's try something new. And looking at a country like Nigeria or India or South Africa, where these technologies would have been life-changing. Why didn't they get here on time? Well, they didn't get here on time because there was something that was amiss, whether it is in policy, it is in adoption, it is a technology space. There was something amiss because of that lack of a nexus point and that lack of a congruence in the way things were going to be adopted.
It's very interesting.
So that's kind of what Kenya did, and Kenya did right.
No, some of you don't know, but I absolutely love Kenya. I love everything about it so much. And I like the use of mobile money and mobile technology to drive both innovation and access. Because I think, first of all, that's like lowest hanging fruits. But I also think where Africa is today, that is one form of innovation that is rapidly being adopted. Internet connectivity is growing, smartphone penetration is growing, phone penetration is growing as well. And I think it's interesting and very impressive how Kenya has been able to lay on top of that different innovations. Now, speaking on innovations, I want to talk about some of the things that you've been able to do. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing, like Kytabu, and how whether or not leveraging mobile technology or just leveraging the community and the ecosystem that you have within Kenya, East Africa and beyond. Could you tell us a little bit about the inspirations behind it and some of the work that you're doing with it?
When I left the Nile, I wanted to do something I felt for. And I wanted to do something I was sold into. And education technology was something I loved. But I knew that the school management system, the teachers' apps, the students' app, and the parents' apps were all that were available. And it was disappointing. That's all that there was. And we wanted to do something fringe. We wanted to be at the edge of what's new. So Kytabu became more than an edtech company per se. It became more of a R&D type. Let's see what is next kind of company. I remember there's a time when AR or VR was out, we were the first to try and work with Google on trying to get kids to put the plastic VR. I think they had one which was made of cardboard. VR goggles where you put a smartphone and then, wherever you go, you can be able to see stuff. And then the Oculus came out and all of these devices came out, but they were at $2,000. Like who's going to afford that, right? And then after that, I remember when we started doing AR, which is basically you point a phone at a piece of paper and augmented reality image comes out, whether it's the heart or the lungs or the human body. We did that. And we tried to talk to the company then that was doing that out of the States. I remember we even did a presentation to the Kenyan president and the then Chinese premier. And we presented what this was possible and what could happen if a student didn't have to actually have a lab in their school.
Yeah.
They could just point a device to a piece of paper and you could see what happens when you mix hydrogen and oxygen. And we presented it to the then president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and we had the Minister of ICT, Joe Musharu, come to the office the next day and talk about how can we make this happen. But government, procurement, all of that stuff.
I understand, believe me.
But what we wanted to do was find a way to be in front of what's new. Before it gets mainstream, we wanted to jump on it. And we did that for quite a while. COVID hit. We implemented what we thought was new. We had some solutions for kids and for girls, a mentoring platform that connects young girls to women. That became super difficult to do because you could never track and trace what girls and people were doing because of privacy. Yeah. And we knew that we were amiss. And I was very clear that this is not going to work. Something is missing. And I couldn't tell what it was until November 22nd, 2022.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I came across OpenAI.
Yep.
And I got an email because it was on Product Hunt, Sam Altman. I put something on Product Hunt. And I was quick to try and see what this is. It was my first experience with generative AI. And I was like, this is what has been missing all along. Being able to have generative AI was a light bulb moment for me that I will never, I feel like it was, for me, it was like the day the apple fell. And I was like, I get it. I get it.
This is for me.
And almost immediately I went to the Kytabu website and changed it to an AI first company. And that's what we've been working on ever since. How do we bring artificial intelligence into schools that in many cases have no doors, windows, classes, or even classrooms? What do we do? And that has been the journey so far. And to the point where we've gotten to started thinking about what wearable glasses look like. Because they're not tablets, laptops, or smart screens that have come and gone. They are easy to adopt, easy to apply, $90 a piece, max price. And they can be able to give teachers a second brain, support them in their classrooms, and provide not just the technology for the teacher to know where they're getting it right and getting it wrong in curriculum development and teaching, but also help them with classroom administration and student engagement. Like those are the small steps that sound impossible at the beginning. But if you really sit down and think about it in 10 years, 20 years, they'll have been common knowledge.
Yeah.
So we are futurists at Kytabu, and we're trying to bring the future as close as possible to the classroom.
I like this idea a lot. And I like the fact that it's very mission and impact focused. I want to ask a more specific question. Why glasses?
Because they're easy. And I think this is the thing about technology that we must learn. The simplest form of technology was always the paper and pen. Always. That is technology. People forget that that is technology. To be able to get something that writes or leaves marks on something else is as old as, for us as humans, time. Cavemen and women would draw inside
caves,
a cave, and they would use a stick and etch out patterns that other humans could be able to understand. This thousands of years later, we're looking at wall paintings and we can tell this is a hunter, these are animals and the like. The Egypt scripts that we look at now, talking about pyramids and the story and the history of pharaohs, that is something that is beyond language. Irrespective of what language you speak, you can be able to understand the scripts and drawings. That's technology. But as we've progressed as humans, we have made things overcomplicated. Sometimes because we want to prove a point or we are competing with each other. But to think that the Apollo 11 went to space with less technology than your standard iPhone. Or your
Crazy,
standard Android.
by the way.
It's insane.
Wild.
If you can go to space with those little buttons and toot, what are you telling me about trying to complicate the studying engagement for kids? It can be simplified, right? So when we looked at across the education plateau, we saw that, it was full of devices that had been thrown, whether it's one laptop per child situations or smart boards or VR and AR, whatever it is. It was so complicated. But we looked at a standard classroom and asked ourselves, what's there now? What's there? Half the time, 44% of the time, there's a teacher wearing spectacles. 44% of the time. And we're like, wow, is there anyone in the world doing anything with a spectacle? There's, rings, which they wear. There's watches, which they wear. And they do have a mobile phone. But the act of teaching needs to be a flow, kind of like a sports person. It needs to be something they do without having to look at a screen, without having to refer to something else. Glasses seem to be on wear. They're embedded. The teacher needs them to see the student, to see the blackboard, to see the book. That means that they're part of the teacher. Is there anything we can do with them? And when Ray-Ban Meta did what they did, we looked and we thought, here there is something. This is what Africa does.
Yeah.
You look at what is available and figure out how you can add technology to it. And Hodari Vision was born. Hodari means brilliant or brave. And we thought Hodari is the technology, is the mobile app for teachers. Vision are the glasses they wear. And we said to ourselves, if we can embed technology into those glasses, which has been done before by so many companies, whether it's LookTech or Lomos or Brilliant Labs, they have done it in their glasses. Yeah. Can we not make this available for teachers all around the continent? Continent, not in Nairobi, the continent. What can we do if the lens the teacher can change, but the frame can have cameras, microphone, and a speaker at the back? And we can put a small language model and a chip that can enable teachers to be able to store the information they see. And with privacy, which we understand, we always make sure privacy is built in. And the connection between the mobile phone and the glasses is through Bluetooth. What do you need Wi-Fi for? Right? And small language models can be able to enable teachers to be able to scale what they are learning, but privately. Then what's the challenge? Right? It's simple enough for it to be implemented anywhere. Doesn't need too much. Wherever you charge your phone, you can charge these glasses. And we can implement it in less than $100 per teacher. No training required. Then we thought, okay, why don't we try it out? So one of our partners went to Shenzhen, looked at the glasses, found glasses on the street with a camera for $5. And we were like, exactly how much does it cost to build out these glasses? Turns out it's $47 a pop.
Really?
With our technology, $90. We can be able to push it out to teachers for less than $100. This is a scalable idea. Yeah. Massively scalable. And here we are.
I love this so much for multiple reasons. One, I like when innovation doesn't inhibit the flow, the natural flow of things. Using glasses means that it's basically business as usual for the teachers.
It's business as usual for
the teachers. Innovation is layered on top of it. That's one. Number two, I'm a big fan of AI. I marked that date on November 2022. I have used an AI tool every single day since that day.
Yeah.
Literally.
You and I both.
No, it's a game changer. And I'm actually very optimistic about how this plays out, especially because we've been able to bring the cost low, and it seems like you have the right partners, the right network to scale this out. Right. So please, I'm looking forward to seeing how this scales out.
I am too. I mean, let's not lie about it. I'm an entrepreneur. This could completely fail, but I don't care.
Yeah, no. It's the trying that matters.
It's the trying that matters, and doing it right, deploying something that you can be able to test, getting some school partners to be able to give it to teachers. Let's start small. Yeah. Because if it changes the game, and it changes the game consistently on a national level, then it becomes easy to change the game on a global level. Yeah. And I think that's what Africa needs. Africa needs folks who are not desperate to own it all. We're more desperate to see success on the continent than we are to hoard all the resources, the money, the talent, the vision, the everything. We don't need that right now. Let our kids and our grandkids do that fight. But for us, we need to scale, recognizing that we have a continent of 1 billion people. Okay. In that 1 billion people, it doesn't matter how many of us and how many bodies we push out. Yeah. If those bodies are not skilled, we will not be the future of work. Yeah. And we will not see it. Yeah. So let's educate our people as best as we can, as quickly as we can.
I have a question for you, and it's a slight tangent, just focusing on AI. Is there any other AI innovation that has really impressed you more recently? I can cite an example that jumps out in my mind.
Yes.
Bolt.new has been fantastic.
Basically, Bolt.new, Lovable, Cursor, those three are killing it.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe what I saw when I used it the first time. I was so impressed. But for you, is there any innovation or AI tool that has really impressed you recently? Interesting.
I don't code. I never have. I know how to build websites because what is WordPress? But I remember when we went on a trip to Estonia, and I have another project inside, a fintech project, because I'm a fintech edtech individual. But I remember getting to Estonia and seeing what a country of 1.3 million people have done in building 10 unicorns. 10. Count them. 1 to 10 unicorns.
Yeah, it's crazy. Million. Crazy.
Lagos, for context, has 20 million people. So by extension, you should have 117 unicorns. You know what I mean? I do my math wrong. But I saw what they had done, and I realized as we talked to more and more people, there's nothing special about them. They just believed that they can build it themselves. And while I was in the aircraft going there, I came up with this idea. When we got there and I started getting to appreciate this, I was like, I wish I knew how to build something. And I was on TikTok because I have a bit of a following there, and came across Lovable, and I thought, I'm going to try it. And every night for an hour or so, I would get on Lovable and start creating this thing. And by the time I was done with the 10-day trip in Lovable, in Estonia, I had built out Tribbe on Lovable. app, front to back, finished, complete.
Amazing.
Apart from the wallet integration that needs some help from a couple of people who are better than me, I built out the solution and I was able to showcase it to people on my phone. And looking at that, I was like, there is absolutely no one who cannot immediately build a solution for any sector, anywhere in the world. And Cursor is better. And just yesterday, I came across what Google has done with A2A, agent to agent, and what they've done on Firebase, which is basically lovable, but with a deployment function. And I realized that the world of development has completely changed.
Forever.
Yeah. You're never going to take us back to where we were. None of this stuff is going to go back. But let me give people context so that they understand what's going to happen. The gap between human creativity and imagination and technological deployment has moved from infinity, because you would have to have learned how to code, to almost nothing, to basic language, where anyone from anywhere on earth can sit in front of a computer with internet and say, I want a product that does these exact things. And that product will be built for them while they watch. That is a saying. A saying someone can stand in front of a gas-powered cooker, put a pot on top and turn a knob and get fire. That is something 200, 300, 500 years ago was unfathomable. And we've done it in one lifetime. From the time code was created in the 70s to the time it's now being deployed by a 12-year-old kid who just wants a video game.
It's crazy.
It's happening.
It's such a game changer.
It's difficult for people to understand how it is, because Facebook, YouTube, Google itself, all of these things came out of Silicon Valley because the infrastructure, the technology, the skill set was there. It was concentrated in 50 square miles. Now, everything they had is accessible to a child down the street here in Lagos, somebody in Timbuktu, someone in the bottom of New Zealand, somebody in the middle of China. It's accessible to all of these individuals. The Chinese one might need a VPN. That's not the point. It's accessible to everyone. And all you now need is an imagination, some time, and language. And you can build anything you want.
Anything.
The world has changed.
I think the biggest use case, and kind of layering on what you're saying, the biggest use case for me is a lot of people have the idea in their minds, but haven't really been able to sell the vision.
That's correct.
Either to their colleagues, to their developers, to their investors, and this just completely changes how they
completely. Now we are living in a world where, for a lot of people who have never experienced freedom of thought to creativity, here you are.
Literally.
Whether you work in a salon and you need a POS, or you are a mechanic and you need something that can help you understand whatever it is you want, plan out your customers, or you're a teacher in a classroom who wants to teach kids about the solar system. You can do it wherever you are. All you need is a laptop and some time. Something. It is something. I dare say that in 10 years, the living standards of every African will have changed. Because someone somewhere on this continent is going to single-handedly build $1 billion company. One person. Not two, not five, not 10. One person will build $1 billion company.
There was a debate about this. Basically, the size of $1 billion companies have increasingly reduced. And I won't be completely surprised. I'll be honest with you.
I don't think so.
Especially if they have the right combination of technical and sales skills to be able to do both.
Solve a problem. Somebody talked about the loneliness problem in Europe.
Talk about that.
So Finland was identified as one of the happiest countries in the world. I deny that. I don't think I think the metrics are completely wrong, because I was in Finland. And what I noticed very quickly is it's a very individualistic society. Everyone is by themselves. Where were humans created to be that way? We're social beings. We're supposed to be surrounded by community.
Interesting.
And I feel like one of the biggest epidemics hitting people in Europe and some cities in the continent as well is that of loneliness. Generative AI and some visual aids can solve that problem.
Interesting.
And it's a scary thing. There's a movie that was put out, I think, 2001, 2011, called Her.
I remember.
H-E-R. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
We're not far from there. There's a lot of things that, if you remember Back to the Future, the movie from way back, we have now realized a tablet. Well, we didn't do the shoes and the flying car.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But China's just approved flying taxis.
I saw in China also has a swimming car. Literally. It's amazing.
So it's not that we're far from it, because whatever you can imagine, you can design and build. But now more than ever, whoever solves the loneliness problem by creating a companion for people that can also enable them to meet other people.
Yeah.
Because it's a singular,
Yeah.
whether it's AGI or ASI. For those who don't know, it's artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence. Whoever can create something that does that. One person billionaire.
I'm keen to see how that plays out. I have one question, and this is slight tangents. We ask all our guests this question, but as you're speaking, there are many different points of your story that have just been amazing, first of all, but also inspired you in different ways. What has been, in your opinion, the most pivotal moments of your innovation story so far?
My failures.
Tell us more.
One of my biggest failures, I think, and there are many, so it's not big in the sense that it's bigger. It's just the one that's most profound.
Yeah.
Was COVID. It's during COVID that education platforms, if it was ever going to excel, it was going to excel then. And it was during COVID that I realized this is an unsustainable, unfathomable, unworkable solution. Whether it is school management systems, mobile apps for children, teachers, or students.
How so? What happened?
Because it was the way technology is built, it is meant to be seamless. Here's a very practical example. We are speaking to a microphone. There's a cable that takes that to our product, that maps it out, turns it into electrical impulses, that then whoever is going to be watching this can listen from the speakers on their side of the world. That's a seamless solution. I talk, you talk, we record, we send, we share, people watch. That's seamless technology. All we have to do is put these things in front of us. When it came to education technology, there had to be input. Teachers had to put in information. Students had to push in information. A school administrator had to put in information. It was work. It's not meant to add to the list of things you need to do. And I knew that this was wrong. I just didn't know where we were going. And I reached a point of peak frustration towards the end of the year when I looked at it and realized once the grant money is finished, these solutions will not be sustainable.
Yeah.
We can't keep it cheap. It has to be super expensive. And then despite the fact that it's super expensive, people have to participate in making it work. Yeah. And I was like, this is not how it's meant to be. Yeah. Something else should change. I didn't know what that was. But it was that inflection point that got me to see that education as a system is broken. As a system. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you layer on top of it. The foundation is broken.
Education in general, education in Africa.
Education in general is broken. We have nurtured our children as we have been nurtured to get up in the morning, study repeatedly, pass our exams, get into the same system, and then once we're done passing exams, get into the job market and keep the status quo going. Whether we are creating new things or not, what we're doing is working in an industrialized, almost machine type system. Yeah. We're all line managers for other people. And at the end of the day, you get old and you die. That is not the way humans were meant to be created. We were meant to be creative, creators. If you are a believer like I am, if we were created in the Lord's image, what was he? At his core, he's a creator. That is what he is called many times in the word. He is a creator. He creates things. What have you created in the last couple? Whether it's a painting or a song or fashion or even a business model or something, you are a creator of something new. But this idea of perpetuating the same thing that's happened for many years and calling that success because you have material things in the bank, I don't know if that's the value proposition that we want to pass on to our children for the next 10 generations. Yeah. And that's where I saw the flaws in education. So building a system that perpetuates this, I felt, didn't make any sense. Yeah. That's what I wanted to change.
I have a question, and this just came to my mind.
Yeah.
What role does God play in your life, especially as an entrepreneur?
I think it's a big one. This is a faith game. Oh my God. If you are an entrepreneur and you don't know how to do faith, you don't know how to entrepreneur. You don't. Because the majority of the time you're building something, hoping for a community of people to come and buy it from you. And you don't have any facts to think it's going to scale. Yeah. And when it fails, you don't stop. You repeat. And you do it again and again. That is faith. If ever there was a definition of madness, it is entrepreneurship. Because at some point, you're still speaking success on a product you have no proof will succeed. And a majority of the time, you don't have money in the bank to even back it. You're going out there and preaching something you have no proof of. That's it's a huge level of craziness. So who sits in your system to guarantee it's going to succeed if not the Lord and God of this world? It has to be. Yeah. So for me, it's been a cornerstone relationship, very tumultuous for sure, but it has definitely been an anchor for me and I'm not going to let that go.
I think you're absolutely right. It is a faith-based game.
Oh.
I think my spiritual life has definitely taken a few leaps and bounds since I became an entrepreneur.
In a big way.
Oh, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. You are an apostle now. You move from being bishop to being reverend to being apostle. I'm telling you, it's a
leaps
tough
and
one.
bounds, honestly. You touched on your following earlier, and I made a mental note of that because I wanted to come back to it.
Right.
I think you are a fantastic storyteller.
Thank you.
I think it's a gift that God gave you.
Yeah.
But a gift that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the hallmarks of being a good entrepreneur is actually being able to tell stories and being able to tell them in a way. I think so, because you need to tell stories to your customers. You need to tell stories to investors. That's really what selling is.
It is.
At the core of fundraising is actually storytelling.
Storytelling. That's what I have to agree with. Yeah.
I think it's a skill that I lose a lot of founders and a lot of people who are trying to build. And I want to, if you can, just take a few lessons from you. What would you advise people that are just trying to get started but struggle with storytelling, or people that are already founders but struggle with storytelling? How would you advise them to navigate it?
Yeah, this is going to be important. I feel like this is going to be an important one. If you are to sum up a human being in a sentence, a human being is an expression of life. If I summarized everyone, it would be an expression of life. If you ask me to tell you about anyone that has ever lived, I would give you a sentence or two about who that person was. And it could be Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Jesus Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon his soul. It doesn't matter who it was. Everyone can be summarized into a story. So if anything, we are all a story. And how you present your story while you live will determine how high an echelon you live. A good friend of mine says to me, you cannot be what you cannot see. That speaks volumes for those who are in front of us. That's why it's important to have a mentor and a visionary in front of you. Who do you want to be? But that also starts from inside of you. What narrative do you have in your head of who you are? You know, these gentlemen here who are producing this podcast can say to themselves, we just do podcasts in Lagos. Or they can say to themselves, I want to produce Kelly Rowland, or I want to produce Dance's podcast. The way they move will be determined by the person they believe they are. And that also applies to anyone who wants to succeed in this life. You have to first convince yourself of the narrative that you're going to tell the world before you tell the world who you are. And this goes back to storytelling, which you have mentioned. And to your specific question, if I was to give everyone a piece of advice, the only way you will learn to tell a good story is to listen to good stories.
Interesting.
It is a very simple thing.
I haven't heard that one before.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I note, because things are easy, people try to complicate them. Why do people look at biographies so much, right? If you want to have a good story for yourself, look at what other stories have looked like.
Yeah.
It's when you are to be a very good entrepreneur, you need to learn failure. But how do you learn failure if you haven't learned how other entrepreneurs did it and how they walked through their failure? Great example people talk about all the time is Abraham Lincoln, one of America's greatest presidents. But people don't know how many times he failed. He failed in the most basic way. He applied to be a senator. He tried and got nobody voted for him. Barack Obama's journey, in a group of 19 Democrats that wanted to be president, he was 19th when it came to his presentation in one of the states. I don't remember, I think it was Michigan or one of them. And everybody looked at him and thought he was a joke. But when the opportunity came for him to be who he was in 2014 at the Democratic Party space thing, I forget the name of that, his speech to this day is still quoted by individuals, whether it's in schools or social houses or in clubs or whatever, because opportunity and preparation equals success. Your moment will come. Are you preparing for it? In the meantime, listen to every story possible. Tell it to yourself in the mirror. Practice it in your own mind and heart. And when their turn comes, you'll have always been ready. Give a very good example of David and the sheep. No one saw him when he was killing a bear. No one saw him when he was killing a lion. No one saw that. It's his personal story. He never went and told people. I don't think he told many people that he did it. And even if they did, they might not have believed him. But the day it was time for him to kill his Goliath, the nation was watching.
Interesting.
Put him down. One shot. Sweet. Folks are like, oh, that's luck. No, that's practice.
And preparation.
That's practice. And people need to practice those opportunities for telling stories.
So there are a couple of things that I want to pull on from what you've said. The very first one is, it's important that we are mindful of the stories that we tell ourselves. And I think it's very, very easy for people to kind of overlook that fact. The second thing is then, and this is actually very profound because I hadn't thought of this before, just how many stories are you actually listening to? Like how many are you putting in your head repeatedly, again and again and again? Yeah. And the last piece is practice when no one is watching.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to...
I like how you summarize that. That's so good, man. That's like notes. I like it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So how are you hoping to use this following that you're growing? What is your North Star in terms of the impacts that you want to actually leave?
Do you know I don't care so much for the following?
Interesting.
I don't care for it. Not because I don't care about them. I just don't care for it. I think there's a value proposition that I have offered the people who see my stuff as valuable. And that value proposition is I'll be authentic. Whether I do it right or I do it wrong, I'll be authentic.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I know. I'll drag you into the rooms that I'm in. I will express myself to you the way I know how. I'm open to making mistakes. And I will tell you that mistakes are part of growing. I'm still growing. And that's the beauty of the way I perceive the community I've built.
Okay.
That they will be sure to see the real Tonee. They will see him in his greatest and his weakest moments.
Yeah.
But
you won't hide it.
I won't hide it. And though I am a person of privacy and I'm a private person, I will show you what it's taken me to get to where I'm getting.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll put content every day. Sometimes I'll be too tired to do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I will crystal clear show you the things I know that are getting me to the rooms I'm getting into. The things I'm saying to folks. I will be consistent about my narrative. There are days I will have successes and there are days I'll have failures. There are days I'll have a surplus of income. There are days I will borrow from my friends' money to sustain myself. Those people all exist inside of me. But the most important thing I will keep speaking to my community and telling them is, as you think, it's a very nice statement in the word that says, as man thinketh, so is he. Let me summarize it to mean this. You are who you say you are. You are right if you think you will succeed. You are right if you think you will fail. If you tell yourself you will win, you will win. If you tell yourself you will fail, you will always fail. I want people to own their own narrative. I've owned my narrative. And I will say it, and I may live to see it in my lifetime or I may not, but I will work towards seeing that narrative in my life. And that's what I want people to follow me and see. That he talked his life into existence. So folks are always there saying, he talks such a big game, but he hasn't done the thing. What they don't realize is it starts with talking a big game. It starts with you believing that you're going to get to that place. So that when you get there, you're not surprised and you're careless with it and then drop it. No. I've always said I am this person. Now I am this person. I told you I'm this person. Why didn't you believe me? That was a you problem. I believed I was this person. So the reason I have this blessing to be able to do the thing I said I would do is because I said I am this thing. But you, because you decided you're not going to say what it is you want to say, you're where you are. Recognize that it has nothing to do with what we do. It has everything to do with what we believe, right? We must then act based on our belief. If you believe you are this person, move like this person. Move like the person you say you are. And you'll find doors being opened for you that you didn't open, but your belief got you there. I love this phrase. According to your faith may be done to you. Keyword is according to your faith. He didn't say, may be done to you and may your faith be empowered. According to your faith. So if it is your faith that determines what is done to you, elevate your faith. And faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. So do your thing. Do your thing. Do the thing that you believe is your thing. Speak those things that you will see come to pass. And they will come to pass.
So I love what you're touching on. I spent most of 2024 actually just thinking about like the power of our brains. There are two books that come to mind. The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Highly recommend it for our listeners, by the way. And Think and Grow Rich. But a consistent theme that cuts across both books is about how our thoughts are energy. And the thoughts that we have, the thoughts that we put out, whether through speech or whatever it is, actually have energy and they draw manifestation. And I think I'm using this as a charge for people to actually be very intentional about what they put in their brains and what they spend a lot of time thinking about, because it will manifest, whether positively or negatively.
That's
to your
true.
point.
That's true. That's true.
So no, I really like this point. And thank you for sharing.
Do you know, I think a lot of people, so when something is right, the best lie is 95% true. Best lie. Because you're not going to look through 100% of the information to find the lie. If it's 90% true, you're like, okay, fine, it's cool. It looks real enough to me. And spiritualism has taken away a lot of real talk. Words like manifesting have been tweaked away from meaning faith. Because when you manifest, it's really just faith. A lot of Christian principles have just been tweaked so that they're universe.
Yeah.
The universe is going to be, it is God. Calm down. Chill with these words. What universe? It is always expanding. Stop giving me stories. Right? A lot of these words have been tweaked and they have taken the power out of them. Right? And what people don't understand is when you talk about manifesting, you're talking about believing. Right? When somebody believes in something so desperately, you curve yourself out to be able to see it. Remember the red car theory, where nobody sees red cars. You're just driving, it's just fine. Until the day you say, I want to buy a red car. Then they're everywhere. Right? It's not the same thing with opportunity. Yeah. If you say to yourself, I am in Lagos, this town is 20 million people, what do I have to make me the next biggest thing? If you think that way, you're going to see every reason why you can't be the next biggest thing. But the moment you say, I'm in Lagos, therefore I am the next biggest thing. Yeah. All you're going to see is all the opportunities that make you the next biggest thing. That's all you see. Exactly. And as a man thinketh, so is he. Yeah. So if you think you're going to be the next biggest thing, you move different. Yeah, you really move different.
If you really believe it.
And the thing about believing it is, a lot of the time you don't believe it to the end. You believe it step by step. Yeah. And I love the concept of lamp unto your feet, right? You don't need a lighthouse. Just walk. You just need the next 2 steps. Yeah. Can you take those? Yeah. I don't need to show you the whole path. Just take those 2 steps.
Just one step at a time.
Just go. Do you believe your business is going to make sense? Yeah. Register it. Okay, get a website. Buy a domain. Get Google Workspace. Instead of being at gmail.com, get at mybusiness.com. Pay the $25. Get a brochure. Talk to someone. Send an email. Small things. Yeah. Every single person started small. Yeah. Do not despise humble beginnings. Yeah. Because whatever it is you're building, whether it is the Ark from Noah, or you're building the Tower of Babel, or you're putting together a government, if you start small, step by step, we say it in Kiswahili, haba na haba hujaza kibaba, a bit and a bit and a bit, and an ocean is full in an instant.
Man, that's a word. That's a whole word.
True, man. and we forget that's how it works every single time. Yeah. I have never seen a woman birth a 25-year-old basketball, superstar. I would want to see, that would be a trick. But they start small. They start, whether it was Serena and Venus Williams, and you've seen the movie. Richard started small. Yeah. He took them and he had to go through so much to be able to get them to where they are. Yeah. And the reason there's a movie for it, because people forget that all of these things start small. Yeah. Right? Let's start small. Yeah. We will get there. Yeah. We just need to be consistent.
I really like this phrase. And it touches on a concept I'm a big fan of. I'm going to get it as a poster. It's called Kaizen. It's a Japanese concept.
Kaizen.
That basically very small incremental steps are what you need to actually make it all the way.
How many times have we been told 1,000 steps starts with one? How many times?
So, Tonee, this is, I've been told a lot.
I'm preaching. I'm seeing it.
No. I please don't hold back, first of all. But secondly, I could talk to you all day, but we've come to a very exciting part of the podcast. We just started this season. It's called the Quickfire segment.
The Quickfire segment?
Yes.
You have quickfire questions?
Yes.
I like it.
And the rules are simple. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You can only think about them for a maximum of 5 seconds.
Cool.
And we need you to share the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. The objective is to get your raw feedback.
Right.
Are you ready?
Throw it at me, man.
Okay. Question 1.
Yes.
What is one commonly held belief about Africa that we need to challenge?
That we need somebody else's help to succeed.
Tell us more.
Quick facts. Everywhere, I think it was, I may get the year wrong, but it was maybe 2021 that the amount of money we started sending home was more than the amount of aid the continent was getting. We were bringing back more money.
Like Africans in diaspora?
Okay. We're sending home more money than aid was coming into the continent.
Okay.
And it occurred to many of us that it was more difficult for Africa to trade with itself than to trade in other parts of the world. It's still very difficult for Africa. It's easier and cheaper for someone to fly from London to any part of Europe, which is longer than to fly from Nairobi to Morocco. Yeah. I sometimes have to fly out of the continent.
Then come back.
To come back to the continent.
It's insane.
Who did this? Why did we do this? What is that? Why do I need to honestly get my bananas from Brazil? What is happening? Why is that a reality? Why do my coffee beans have to come out of Kiambu, which is 20 minutes from my parents' house, be flown to Germany to be processed, and then brought back for 600 times the price? Because they have a processing plant that we can ship once for a ton of money, but ship once, and then I'm able to buy my coffee completely brewed out of the country.
Yeah.
Everything that we need, we have. We need to stop thinking that it's out there and start recognizing that it's in here.
Yeah. I like that. That's a whole word, man. I love it.
It's true.
Okay, second question. Fill in the blank.
Right.
The future of African education will be shaped by...
Tonee Ndungu. I will shape the future. I think innovators, right? Innovators will shape the future of education. Let's draw some numbers. As far as age is concerned, the rest of the world is going downhill, right? And in a very short period of time, the age of these countries, Italy, France, Germany, the US, the old age, the older folks in Asia, the amount of money it'll take to keep them healthy will not come from the coffers in government. It will not come from the taxes being picked from the young people in those governments, in those countries, because the youth of that country will be so small that whatever income they generate, you will not be able to tax them enough to keep up with the sickening lives of the older population. They're going to come to us. They're going to come to us for skill. They're going to come to us for bodies. They're going to come to us for people. And we can't give them unskilled labor. It just won't work. So if that is where the world is going, how are you going to train what by 2050 will be the largest workforce on earth?
Yeah.
You think you're going to use people to do that? Let's be realistic. You won't. But the technology exists. Somebody just needs to put it out en masse. We need more innovators. I want to be one of them. I will be one of them.
I like that.
But we need to do it.
Yeah. It's shaped by innovators. I like that.
You have to know what you are, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to tell you who you are. Only you can tell you who you are. So tell yourself a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Why would you tell yourself a bad thing? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Gas yourself up. You know what I mean? Don't wait for someone else to do it. Just gas yourself up. You know what I mean? Just do it.
Oh, Lord.
Within humility, but gas yourself up. Be like, I'm here. I want to do it. I've learned some things. Let me see what I could do with this.
I like that a lot, Anthony.
The world is hard. There's no need for you to keep beating.
Let
the world
harder
beat on you. You just love on yourself.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to beat on yourself.
Okay. Okay. Number 3.
Yes.
If you could take one innovation from anywhere in the world and drop it into an African classroom tomorrow, what would it be and why?
Artificial intelligence is what I would take into every classroom in every place. Curiosity is a human's greatest asset. Curiosity. Your ability to ask a question. Not even answer the question. It's to ask the question. We talked about an apple falling off a tree. The most powerful thing is not that apples did not fall off trees. They always fell off trees. Always. What Newton did was ask why. Why did you fall off this tree? What made you come to me and not go towards the sky? The question. He didn't have the answer. But that drove Isaac Newton into figuring out why the apple fell from the tree. And over again, anyone who has done anything phenomenal, it always started with a question. That curiosity is something we need to force feed ourselves on. Because the moment we ask ourselves the right questions is the moment to start solving the right problems.
Yeah.
Why is Africa full of corrupt leaders and bad leadership? What's the question? Where did it come from? Why do we seem to have this as an intricate problem that we are faced with?
Across many countries.
Across many countries. Why doesn't it make sense for them, as much as they travel, to see that shared prosperity is real prosperity? What is the problem? It is in answering questions like those that we then get to find the right kind of leaders, but also the right kind of mindset for governance. That's when it becomes easy for somebody to sit back and say, I'd rather put everything I have towards the people than take everything the people have for myself. The right question is more important than anything else. And so I think that AI in classrooms will breed a curiosity that kids have that allows them to get into all sorts of rabbit holes, whether it's about science or about history or about, and this is why I'm so big on ethics and fairness for AI in Africa. This is why I think AI diplomacy must be a thing, because we are at a point where whoever controls our information controls our future. And that information is something we must have within our hands and within our control. So I cannot wait to see artificial intelligence in every classroom in Africa, but more than that, to see real large language models built around the continent's history, the real adequate history of the continent, be served to children in our continent.
I like your thoughts on curiosity because I can easily draw a straight line between how AI, if I had AI, open AI when I was in school.
Imagine that.
I'd be a monster.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah? Imagine that.
Game changer.
You could take a thread of thought all the way to the end.
Yeah, literally. Down multiple rabbit holes.
Now imagine what our children, I have a 14 and 12-year-old. Imagine what they'll be doing when they're my age. When they're your age.
Amazing.
And this is critical. This is something I want people to think. The distance between thought and result will be negligible. Negligible. From imagination to actualization could be 10 seconds long. It could be the amount of time it takes for them to articulate their thoughts into a sentence. That's the gap between thought and reality. Imagine what they would be able to do. Right?
No, imagine.
Because that's where we're going.
Tonee, thank you so much, man. I could honestly talk to you all day.
Was this fun?
No, this is amazing.
Did you guys enjoy it, by the way, in the crowd? It was good. It was good, guys. I like it. The people have accepted the podcast.
Do you? I have one final question. I think we'll end on this note.
Yeah.
What, for someone that is in the edtech space in Africa now, which is very difficult, what would you advise them in their current navigations right now? What would you advise them?
Don't expect easy. Don't expect easy. I don't know who lied to us that easy is part of anything meaningful. Whether it is in physics, when it comes to magnets, those that are easy to magnetize are easy to demagnetize. Those that are hard to magnetize are hard to demagnetize. Life tends to be that way. Whatever comes to you easy, you will lose as quickly.
Yeah.
Relationships, finances, physical health, whatever comes to you easy, you lose quickly. So it's good that it's hard, so that when you get the responsibility in your hands, you look back at how hard you worked to get there, and you will not waste it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will waste what they get easily. So anticipate it to be hard. Expect the hardness, but trust yourself to be good enough to get through it. Trust yourself to be strong enough to navigate those difficulties.
Yeah.
And at the end, when you win, first, it'll be well-deserved.
Yeah.
But second, you'll be mature enough to know how to maintain that success.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I wish for no one a lottery ticket kind of success, where you buy a lottery ticket for 20 quid and you get 20 million pounds. I wish that on no one, because how many people have successfully sustained that lifestyle?
Yeah. Very few.
Almost
actually.
none.
Yeah,
Almost
very
none. Yeah, very few.
Yeah.
Because the kind of person you need to be to sustain that is built over decades, at least years of hard work, consistency, and an alignment to a cause that makes you mature. So that when success comes your way, you're not careless with it.
Yeah.
Success is much harder to deal with than failure. Failure is commonplace. Commonplace. Success, though, it destroys so many people. More than failure does.
I like how you emphasize on the fact that the struggle is part of the journey.
It is.
Number one.
It is.
And when you eventually get to your destination, having gone through the struggle, you cherish it a lot more. You know the value.
It sustains you.
Yeah.
It sustains
I like
you.
that point.
I think NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said it really well. That the thing that keeps you at the top is the thing that got you to the top. And a lot of the time, the thing that gets you to the top is grit. You will need more grit at the top than you will have on your way up. If you think about climbing Mount Everest, it's extremely difficult to get up there. People die and they are left at the top of the mountain.
Because nobody can take them down.
Because nobody can take them anywhere. Then it is to get down. But when you get to the top, you can't stay there long because it has taken everything from you and it's very difficult to survive at the top. Very little oxygen. And in our case, it's lonely at the top. There aren't many people at the top. You're easy to talk down on. You're easy to shoot at. You're easy to, in every way, tear apart when you're at the top. It's easy when you're at the bottom. Nobody pays attention. But at the top, the kind of character you need to stay there. That's what is crafted in you as you climb. That's the only way you can get there and sustain it.
The keyword there is grit. Guys, be mindful. Grit.
Grit.
Thank you so much, Tonee. Tonee, this has been amazing. I'll be honest.
I came all the way to Lagos.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
I didn't. I'm just. But it was nice. It was so nice to be able to do this, and it's so good to see you, Femi.
Yeah, you too.
You're looking healthy. You're looking.
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
The vibe,
Thank you. I try my best.
Dude, man.
Thank you.
You're throwing it down, Niger style. Do not confuse the women.
Don't worry.
Thank
you so much for taking time. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. And for our listeners, to our listeners who have stayed with us to the end, thank you and see you later. Cheers.
Peace.